Oh no.
All right, we're live. Hi, everybody. Let's see. Just want to say welcome to this AuthorTube panel. It's about artifacts of the authoring life. And I've got some great guests today here to talk with me about the authoring life, as it were. Let's see if I can get this right. Edie Estrada. Oh, shoot. Haley.
Almost. It's hard because I'm in the corner.
Get this right. Edie Estrada. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Nope. Here we go.
Almost. It's hard.
Okay. It wasn't just me. I had a YouTube thing open. Sorry about that. Oh. So welcome everybody. That's the echo that I always do because I always forget to turn off like the monitoring live thing. We're here to talk about artifacts in the authoring process, as I said, introducing all my lovely author partners here today. We're going to talk about things, maybe physical things that are funny, that are from the research process, writing and publishing process, publicity and marketing, and interacting with fans. So I'm going to ask the esteemed authors to tell us what they write, and then we'll just start with the categories and see what people have to show and tell, because as JD said, this is like an adult author show and tell, so that's the fun part.
What are you going to do in the summer?
Okay, so JD, if you want to go ahead.
I'm Edie Estrada. I'm your friendly, scruffy neighborhood Edie Estrada. I write in a variety of genres, which include poetry, and I recently had a poetry collection, and I'll talk about that later. Urban fantasy, middle grade, nonfiction, and I actually have written short stories, horror short stories in Spanish and in English, and one is out, the other one should be out, but that collection is like in limbo. And in terms of stuff that we've collected, I have a couple, but most of the stuff that I have a variety. One is goofy stuff, another is writing stuff, another is something that I do when I go to conventions, which it's been a hot minute since we go to conventions, but I did want to share that because it's something that's really special to me. And then a talisman of sort that I've had for 17 years.
Ooh, nice. I love it. Okay. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Pei. I've been working on one project for quite a while now. I haven't published anything outside a few magazines here, a few articles. But the only thing I have published is of course the one book that I did about 5-6 years ago at this point. And other than that, just been working on these other things. So.
Like BookTube.
Yeah, that's been a thing.
Yes, awesome. All right, Edie, go ahead. Tell us about
it. Well, I'm Edie K. I currently write romance novels, which, how did I do this? I managed to misplace it. I've got all these artifacts sitting around. This is my first book, Lady's Revenge. It is a Regency romance about women's boxing. And it actually just won the Indie Book Award for Romance and also the Golden Leaf for Best First Book. And it's a finalist right now for the Holt Medallion. So we hear about that in June, which is pretty great. And I just released a second book in February called The Boxer and the Blacksmith, which really dives into the boxing world more heavily. Again, female protagonist, female boxer. I got my MFA in creative writing approximately 6 million years ago. And I wrote reviews and critiques. I am a member of the Historical Novel Society, and I write reviews for them. And I write features as well whenever they ask me. And I wait patiently, waiting for the next one.
Oh, is that how it works? Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. No, you just sit there and you like.
You had to say wait patiently.
And I'm also a member of the Paper Lantern Writers, which is a group. It's a historical fiction collective. So we are actually going to be at the Historical Novel Society conference in June, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah, that's
very excited for that.
That's what I do. And so I've got lots of stuff in the last 20 years of doing this. So, wow. Yeah, it's been a long time.
All right. Well, why don't we start with you for like the earliest part of the process? I'm basically going through chronologically here, like research process. I'm assuming that's sort of the first thing you do. in my process, that's true. Something from the research process that is an artifact.
That is an artifact. Oh, well, you're asking me?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So,
So my current stuff, I'm on vacation, so I'm outside my house. This is not my home. And I'm far away from my home. But even though I'm on the road, I am still currently researching for book 3 in my series. So I am currently reading Queer City, and this is all my notes so far. So this is about London from basically Roman times, and the queer artifacts from London, from pre-Roman to current. So it's fascinating. Peter Ackroyd has written quite a bit of academia about that. So it's a great read. It's very easy to read. And then the other one is Female Husbands, A Trans History. I haven't started it yet, so it's nice and pristine. But I'm very excited. I've read excerpts of it and other research materials, and I've seen it referenced a bunch of times. So I'm very, very excited about this. There is some phenomenal real life instances of women living as men and how they existed in the world historically, and specifically in Western. So that's really what it's talking about. But yeah, and so those are my research bits at the moment. And then of course I have this massive confusing database inside my computer that has all of my research. It's a spreadsheet. It's sort of like a beautiful mind, only not as smart. It's just
it's only the computer interface that's keeping you from putting like that red string across to link it, right?
Yeah. It's scary and weird, but yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone want to go next?
Well, you said you were gonna go around. Now I'm confused in terms of format.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I'll go.
Don't play with our emotions.
Okay, so research. I remembered just before this that the best thing would have been to bring my like rock and moss collection. So I'm just peeping the book that I'm going to read while I'm here, Gathering Moss by Walt Kimmerer. So this is Dr. Kimmerer's earlier book about moss, and I'm a moss addict. And when I've gone to the places where I've set my stories in Scotland, I end up on the beach or in the forest or on a hike or in the woods, and I end up taking little bits of the place home to remind me of like the feeling of the environment. And don't tell customs, but I sneak these through in my toiletries bag so that they think it's like a sponge or a pumice, something for ladies that they don't know about. I don't know. Anyway, so I bring these back and they're on a row in my bathroom sort of counter. And I think if I took them, I'd forget where they're from because they're like labeled. And so it's just a little bit... It's a physical reminder of the places that I visited that give me a feel for sort of what I poured into those characters and into their struggles at the beginning. So that's my research artifact.
Okay.
JD.
I'd love to have a fancy answer for that, but I have like these huge info dump documents specifically for the human cycle. Each book has its own document of random chisel, and it is at least, I think the shortest one is 200 pages, the longest one is 300 pages of me reading something and saying that's interesting, copy paste, oh that's interesting. It's like a very rudimentary, half-assed Neanderthal Pinterest self-made thing.
Do you copy the source?
I not always. Hey, I just want the idea. I don't need it to be, it's an urban fantasy. If I was writing historical fiction or stuff like that, or sci-fi, and I need it to be like precise and specific, I'm going to be more responsible. Since I am having fun with the fiction and the fantasy, I do not care.
Okay.
So it's just an info dump. And for each book, I just, for each one, I do focus on different aspects of, the human cycle is the exploration of humanity through fiction and different things. That means that the first book is more of an exploration. Topography and geography had a lot of role in that one. The second one was more psychology, and I also wanted to look for aspects of how do certain structures affect one psychologically, or different stuff that are expressions of psychological aspects or stuff like that. And I sneak them in there. And if people notice them, that's great, because it was, I was like, this is going to be clever stuff. And no one gets it, which I don't care. As long as people enjoy it.
No one gets it, but I sneak in an Oscar reference in every single book. I flat out add one, and then.
But then with Easter eggs, it's like Easter egg, and people do catch them. And what I really enjoy about Easter eggs, especially song lyrics or band mentions, is that people, depending on what they're a fan of, they're going to identify certain things. And recently, someone said, "You're a fan of the Eels, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Why do you say that?" And they said, "Because of a line in the first book." And I'm like, "I want to hug you." With a face mask and anti-bag gel. So that's pretty much what I do in terms of research. I don't keep stuff or sneak it from customs. I've done other things, but we can talk about that later.
Nice. All right. Okay, research.
Yeah, similar to actually JD, with what I'm writing now, it is more science fiction, actually, which is the first science fiction novel that I would say that I've tried to write. But it's in a field that's constantly changing, and so when I first started it made a lot more sense. And so while editing it, I have to keep updating what I'm doing. So I'm constantly just reading up on these articles that are coming out in this field, and I'm just going to have to go with it. And if it ever changes, then it's just based off of misunderstanding then.
Pluto's a planet, by the way. Pluto's a planet. I am team
Luckily, Pluto has nothing to do with it, because that's that would fail automatically. But no, but so I'll every week I'll have to just keep looking up these articles on a few websites that I follow that keeps me updated on the changes and what's happening. But and that's the main thing with this, because the novel's done. I just have to keep changing it because of that. But it's just little tweaks here and there. It's nothing like the story changes, so it hasn't been too bad.
That's the nice thing about historical fiction, isn't it, Edie?
Everything's already done.
Everything's already done. It's just interpretation that changes. Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. Yeah.
Although I gotta say, if someone was like, "Hey, we'd really like you to go and do more research about women's boxing," I would jump at the chance. So I'm just saying, I'm not a professional historian, but
yeah.
be great.
All right. The next phase.
One question: do you think female boxing, history of female boxing, is more complicated than female MMA? Because
it was basically the same thing at the time.
Okay.
So women's boxing, women's boxing has been around just as long as men's boxing was. So it actually predated, like Queensberry rules, of course, is the 1870s. But even before that, the first female boxer, the boxer that I base the protagonist of my second book off of, was the best boxer in the world. She was known as the best boxing champion, regardless of gender. She only ever bare knuckle boxed with other women, but she would fight with weapons with men.
What was her name?
Elizabeth Wilkinson Stokes. Wow. And she fought from 1722 to 1728. And her friend, James Figg, is basically the one who gets all of the credit. They had very similar backgrounds. They were both of Irish descent, living in London, poor, and they fought at the same time. James Figg had a school, and she would teach in the school, but because he was a man, he got a lot more credit. So, basically she did all of these things, enforced rules, did all of these things, but then James Figg got all the credit for it. So, because by the time the Victorians rolled around, they couldn't possibly believe that a woman would be boxing, because that's just crazy town. So in 1880, when they formed the actual British, like the English Boxing League, then they made it so that it was women were barred from boxing. It was men only by 1880.
Good stuff.
Yep. Ooh, I can talk about this for days.
Okay, we're gonna jump to the next part in the sequence, the writing / publishing, in case these are melded. So we'll go with writing for the name of this phase. I've got a few. Does anyone else have like bits of craft butcher paper like this?
That's one I Willie's
one,
math.
right? I mean, just going. This is how I look back on a book and try to plan out the structure of like, here are all the people, here are all the events that happen, how is it going action wise, and where are the most important like emotional points. And so I actually saved this from Memories Hostage. This is my first book that came out in 2013. Wow. And I look at it and I can still go, oh yeah, I remember that. It's like vague, like way back in there. So
do you need a foil hat to understand it, or
no? I mean, what do I have? Like, looks into father's will, thinks might have had affair with same woman as his father. Like, just like plot points. I can't do this on the computer. So yeah, I just end up doing it on paper and looking a little like a weirdo. But yeah, it's more fun this way.
That's cool.
So, writing. Edie.
Well, so I keep a lot of it in my head, which is dangerous and terrible, and I don't recommend it. It also makes me really scatterbrained because like when I'm in a serious like writing phase, like I can't have complete sentences because my brain, it's like, my processor is just slow and I just can't because I've got all this extra stuff going on. But like this is from A Lady's Revenge. So it's
familiar.
It's from Romancing the Beat, I think is the name of the book. Anyway, so these are her plot points, or not plot points, but like
divisions of
like where the for romance. And so that's the internal, right? That's the romantic plot, which has nothing to do with the external plot. So I have in my highlighter the Act 1, the inciting incident, Act 2, so that I can keep track of my external as well, pinch points, as well as marking off where the romantic beats are so that I'm keeping track of the relationship as well as keeping track of my external plot. And so I'm trying to do that with the book 3 that I'm writing, which I'm trying to use color coding because that one was done after the fact, and this is like, I'm trying to be better about it. So I've got them in like different colors so I know which POV I'm in.
Always trying to improve. Yeah.
And I just end up writing. I don't actually end up looking at it. I like plot it and then I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. It's in my head. It's fine. It's totally fine. So it's not great, but that's what I do.
Hey, that works.
Yeah.
Is that Terry Pratchett?
I've got another friend who wants to report in here. Can anyone guess who this is or who's meant to be?
I said Terry Pratchett.
No.
I was going to guess Terry Pratchett.
Okay, we're both fans, Faye.
Begins with a W. American literature.
Walt Whitman.
There you go. So I used to be in a writing group and someone gave these out from coming back from a trip because they were all like little literature icons. And I ended up getting Walt Whitman, and he's now a pincushion, but he represents the writing group and, that sort of moment of like exchanging manuscripts. And so I thought that was a fun writing process artifact.
That's awesome.
So when you put a pin in it, you literally put a pin in it.
Yeah. So.
Okay, moi. One of the best gifts I've ever gotten in my life. Pay, since you reviewed Given to Fly, this was a gift from my wife. She had this ordered from, I think it was Argentina or someplace in South America. So basically, this is nice and sturdy. She got me this, and it just blew me away because my favorite song by Pearl Jam is "Given to Fly," hence the title of the book. And she gave me this, and I didn't know what to write for the longest time. I was like, it has to be something special. I have to make it worthwhile. Blah 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 blah. Fast forward to in our relationship when we go on our first trip to Disney, an amusement park, where I don't mind if people sneeze without covering their mouths. Anyways, so we go there. We go to Epcot. Epcot is one of our favorite parks because when we got on the ride, Soarin' is a flight simulator. It's like a hang glider. It's got, I believe, I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 rows. You sit there, it goes up, it's got this huge screen, and you're basically soaring across the United States. If you're in Orlando, it's great. It makes sense because it goes from Orlando to California. If you're in California, it doesn't make any sense because it goes from Orlando to California. They didn't even have, maybe they tweaked it now, but they didn't have the decency to put it in, like, specific to one location. It's like, dude, put it in reverse or something. I don't know. Reverse the sequence. So I got on there, and while we're on the ride, I'm blown away because it's not the Incredible Hulk or ride like that, but it just hit all the points of what I wanted in a ride, and it's like idea.
What?
When we get off the ride, my wife was like, "Oh, that was awesome," and she sees me crying, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I have the idea for the book. And it was literally, the ride is about 2.5, 3 minutes or something like that. And in that span, I got 85% of the plot. I didn't jot it down. Luckily, my head cooperated with me. And I was able to, I was able to jot it down. But it all began with a really good gift.
Wow. Is it a journal?
It is a journal.
It is a journal.
It is my handwriting.
Scrawl.
But it's handbound, which I thought was really nice. And it's just quality. It's got good weight to it.
Very cool. Cool. Thank you. Hey, writing process /
Yeah, I was just gonna say about JD. When I did the review, I was actually researching. I was reading other people's as reviews, and I came across an interview that you did where you talked about that journal. So I'm glad you showed it because I was kind of interested, and I'd never heard of a journal inspiring someone to write a book before. So I was like, wonder what that journal actually looks like.
So there you go. And I do think I used up, if not all of it, most of it. It's like I got, there were like 10 pages left. So I can use these last pages to jot down the outline for the next one, which should be coming soon, but I can't keep adding projects. I'm finishing projects.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. What was the question? How the research?
Writing.
Oh, right. How to? Yeah. So it's just it's all of my. They usually start as like a short story, and then I'll just have one idea that I'll write just below what I'm writing, like typing out, and then I'll write like a short story with that, and then connect them because they'll usually make sense. And then it just keeps going from there. But I don't really plan anything. I just kind of start doing it. I don't write as much fiction, and I think it comes from just doing that, is writing like research, whatever else I'm researching at the time. And then if I can put a story together from what I'm doing there, then I just have all that research already at hand, and then have all the little tiny bits that I can put together, and then I just start writing. And I never have a word count or anything that I feel like I need to reach, so I just keep doing it till I feel it's done. That's cool. And that's about it. I kept it on cue cards. I would use them.
Cue card. Kind of like
how you do it, Mark, on the big paper, but I just put it on cue cards, and then I just end up losing them, and I never think of it.
I do have index cards, and that's worked for me as well. Every project I try something different, so I don't get bored of the process. And some people have like their formula, and it's like, this is what I always do, and I always go, screw it, let's try something new. and see what
I do
happens.
the same. I do the same. I've done the index cards. I've done Post-it notes. I've done journaling. But yeah, so far,
Inward, yeah.
yeah.
Scrivener.
That is Walt Whitman.
Oh, okay. I was like Galileo. I was gonna guess Galileo from
No one guessed Walt. Walt Whitman is rolling his grave. He's like, hey, they thought I was Terry Pratchett and Hemingway.
So is Joe right? Is it the Origins episode that Pay watched? Was it a Go Indie Now interview, do you think, where he talked about a journal? Does that sound familiar? Because
I don't know.
I don't remember which
puppet master of the Go Indie Now interview.
It wasn't. It was. I read it somewhere. It wasn't something I watched.
Okay.
I don't remember where it was. Like I was just reading everything I could find, every review, and just kind of came across it. It was done by one of your friends, I believe.
A lot of people are really kind and generous reviewing, so I would have to check and see who it is. And
I could try to find it again, and I can send it. But
people glean different things from that, and I do so many shows that people say, "Oh, remember that interview?" And I'm like, "Can you be a bit more specific?" Because I'm a whore. It's like,
sorry,
you have a podcast, you have a video channel. Let's do it. Let's have fun.
Be that guy. Awesome. Okay. We have publishing. Does anyone have one specifically more geared toward publishing? I have one to share.
Well, yeah, you do yours, and I'll think if I've got something for publishing.
An actual artifact, because these don't exist anymore.
Wow.
Sorry. This is like a shipping manifest from CreateSpace orders. And this is how I used to track how I had inventory. And since CreateSpace is no longer, and it's just all KDP for people who publish with Amazon, the system doesn't work anymore. So I had to adapt or die. But it actually told me like the place that had printed the books, which was helpful. Like mine were all in South Carolina, it appears. And it was just nice to be able to see, hey, my books were born here. That's cool. Publishing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have one, sort of. I think this is this is a first printing of my book, and I used vellum to format it. And I did not realize that after I had everything all nice and tidy, had gone through all of my proofs and everything like that, I didn't realize that it had a bug in it where it would repeat paragraphs at random intervals.
What?
So, first printing, there are a couple of copy mistakes in here because the vellum program, which they have said they fixed, they sort of fixed. There's still a couple of times it'll do it, not as much as it did on this one, but I'm trying to figure out if I can find one here off the top of my head. I think I've blocked out all of the specific page numbers. But yeah, so that is part of the indie publishing world that you have to be careful of, is how you format. Because sometimes, it wasn't in my original manuscript. It's not in that file, but popped up in the book anyway. So anyway.
Cool. Thanks, Vellum.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I'm good with Scrivener. Like, I know Scrivener was a lot cheaper than Vellum when I was looking at it anyway, so I'm glad it didn't have that same kind of bug.
Yeah.
Any other publishing specific?
JD, do you have anything?
I believe I just found, and this is a fun story. So, wait, let me. So that's glare. See that box?
Yes. Yeah. It's got a smile.
That's the first time I saw my books.
Oh.
You want to know the fun part of this story?
Uh-oh, what?
The books arrived the day that I had to go set up on the Puerto Rico Comic Con. So the smile is not only the joy of seeing my books, it is the relief of being able to unclench and have books available for the show, because in terms of getting down to the wire, I couldn't get more down to the wire. The books arrived at what, like 2 p.m. and I had to go set up at 5.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but I've been very fortunate and lucky in many instances, and I think that just goes to show how I am. So
yeah, that's good.
I
did. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to show one more. I can show you guys the cover that didn't make it for the Boxer and the Blacksmith.
that's cool.
Okay, the cover that didn't make it because it's not right. So I don't know if I can get the glitter off there.
Yeah.
So that's the cover that didn't make it because she's too pretty. I was like, dude, no. Think Brianna Tarth. Like, come on, she's not super pretty. But yeah, that was the one that didn't make it. And then it just felt weird with the hero like lurking in the background, and I was like, this is not right. So the cover now does not have any people on it. So
Okay.
Cover design. Yeah, that's important.
Cover design.
Important part of the process. It's what you get people your first look, right?
Exactly. Well, and I feel like that's why A Lady's Revenge does so well, is because it has a very clear, it's a Regency romance about women's boxing. So it's, it hits all the marks of other historical romances, but has that one little tweak that makes it different. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Very good. All right, we're gonna round second and head to marketing publicity. So any and all efforts you use to communicate. Sorry, I'm on mosquito watch now because as you can see, I got a bite and I react. Marketing and publicity, any and all efforts you do to bring your book to readers and show that it's something worth their time to peruse. So, Kate, you want to start with this one?
Actually, I have a kind of a funny story. Before I had this book published, I sent a letter to this magazine that I was writing for about it, and in the letter it mentioned that I had published under a bunch of different topics, which wasn't true. Mm. However, I also was getting a short story published in this university press book that had, and it was just going to be whatever I wanted it to be. So all the things that I said in this letter, I just put in bullet form in this thing that I was getting published with the university, so that it would then become true.
Oh my God!
But it all happened around the same time. So luckily, when it was published saying that I had something in all these subjects published, by that time I actually did. So that worked out well.
Wow.
That's clever.
It's funny because it is just bullet point saying, oh yeah, education, and then just a quick thing on education, then religion, and then just a quick thing on religion. but I tried to make it all relate to art and what it's saying about art, so it kind of connected. But there, it worked.
That's awesome. It's like, well, you didn't have homework, but now you do. Now you do, my friend.
Nice.
Oh.
To promote the books and stuff like that, I do hidden images and I do stuff with the covers and I try to have fun with that. But I'm more about having fun, trying to lighten the mood and be silly and do stupid shit. Shizzle. And no, that
this is an adult channel. I have definitely checked the box to default not made for kids. Don't worry.
So my banana.
Double O bananas.
Double O banana.
Nice.
Although the last 2 weeks I haven't done a Double O bananas, I have been doing Double O bananas videos for a hot minute because I wanted to do something silly. I wanted to do something fun and show that, like Peter Pan, I shall never grow up. This, me doing like a banana secret agent became something very special because one day Mom told me that my nephews were after Hurricane Maria. there was chaos back home in Puerto Rico. And then mom was like, they're waiting for your next video. And I'm like, they watch? And she was like, yeah, they always watch your banana videos. And I'm like, shit. So the crazy banana uncle kept doing that. And that's the curious thing is that more people know me because of my Dictionary, my quirky socks, bananas, and all sorts of randomness. Please talk it to me. And randomness then for my books, which is interesting. I'm not going to say it's good or bad. I'm going to say it's just unique to me. But a lot of people know me because of this stupid thing, and it's just a whole lot of fun because I'm already 40 and I'm not going to stop doing this. And my goal is to one day have enough success so that Chiquita Banana does a scholarship because of me, and that is one of my author goals. So I am putting that out there. I'll accept Dole, but I'd rather Chiquita.
Wow. And can anyone identify what these are?
Not with the glare.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that makes it hard.
Is that her?
Oh, there you go. Name tag.
Name tags.
Yeah.
So when I in my previous life before I was an author, I was in a nonprofit world job, and I was going to conferences, traveling for meetings, and I had to wear name tags a lot. And you either had the sticker variety, which was just awkward because it's lumpy, or you had the pin variety, which you had to figure out where to put so that it wouldn't like pierce anything. And I took a cue from my mom, who was a public official and had one of these made for when she was mayor. And so it's a magnetic one, and they're just so much better. So I finally got this like the year before. There's the one with my brand on my website. Pretty cool.
Oh, that one's cool.
Finally got this the year before the pandemic came through, and now I have nowhere to wear them. So like,
hopefully it's coming back. Let's hope.
It'll come back. I'm sure I'll wear them again, which is why they're still in like the little plant pot near my door to remind me like it's coming back. You'll see people again. Don't worry. So that's my like marketing artifact that I actually look at like every day because it's in there with the pens and like the wallet and everything. So it's a good memory.
My marketing artifact. So I'm part of the marketing collective Paper Lantern Writers, and we started officially at the beginning of 2020. That was we kind of got ourselves together in 2019. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go to conferences. We're going to be a group of historical fiction authors. It's going to be great. And 2020, we launch our website. We do all our stuff. We're like super excited. My book is the first one we launch. And then pandemic. And we're like, okay, so this means that our social media platforms have to be better. And when we were in the middle of trying to figure out who we were trying to come up with our name, and we didn't know. And so I actually came up with Paper Lantern Writers because I was laying in my son's room. I have a 3-year-old now, and he was being a toddler. And so I was laying on the floor in his room, just like, okay, now what do I do? And he has paper lanterns in his room. And I was like, okay, how about that? Paper lanterns. And so we kind of looked it up and figured out a couple of different, myths around paper lanterns and traditions around paper lanterns. And we all agreed. And so that's become our branding for it. So whenever you see paper lanterns, that's probably us on the internet. So yeah.
You know what it makes me think of? I mean, besides you guys, you know what it makes me think of?
Huh.
Tangled, the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Right. Yeah. Me too. Which he hasn't watched because the bar scene really scares him, which is too bad. It's the best musical number in the whole thing.
Totally. I have definitely sung that in karaoke. Which song is it?
I don't remember the name of it, but it's just
it'll come to me. I'll put it
honky tonk kind of like, I don't know. It's great.
She's gonna be brewing tea and go like, "Damn it, this song."
Yeah.
Wait, what? What did you just say? What do you need something to to use
I
that.
think you need the frying pan, and then you can remember.
Oh no, I was talking about one of his artifacts, but we'll see.
Okay.
I've got a dream. Something about that. Yeah.
I think it is called I've Got a Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so yes, Tangled and all that. Did everyone get in marketing publicity?
I think so.
Cool. We had a little comment from the Peanut Gallery. When you do hot ones, JD, I'm going to make sure the producer finds a banana flavored hot sauce.
Yeah.
That's right. You do taste tests. I don't know if you've done it like hot sauce, but that's what that's about. He does taste tests for snacks and stuff.
Yeah, I do taste tests, and I'm a big fan of hot ones. And another author goal is to get on hot ones and just let my face melt off.
I don't know what hot ones is.
Oh, you're missing out.
Oh man.
It's an interview. A guy, his guest, 10 hot wings, hot sauce, going from mild and flavorful and nice and kind, and oh my god, I like spicy food too. What the hell am I thinking? And throughout the questions, you're dealing with whatever's going on in your face, and down your throat and in your stomach and in your mouth, and so basically you have very few filters. So people have snot coming out. People thought it was fake, and then they get to the fifth wing and they're like, "Oh no, this is real. What have I done?" And the thing is that the guy is like almost like a life coach. He's like, "You can do this. Come on, eat the wing and answer the question."
Speaking of questions, I forgot I had questions for you guys. So you told me about your books. The next thing I wanted to let the audience know was your favorite part out of these processes. So we have one more category, which is fans. And of course, don't be boring and say that your favorite part is the fans. Okay. So the readers, everyone's going to say that. The other parts, like the other interesting things, what's your favorite part of researching, writing, publishing, marketing, publicity, fans, like interface?
I don't know what you mean, to be honest. Like, to be clear, like, I'm not sure exactly. You mean like a specific instance? Like,
no, not an artifact question. Just like out of these, I do publishing because it's required. I do marketing and it's getting more fun, but really like I am most in flow when I am in research mode. And so that's like my home,
Oh yeah.
the part of the process. Yeah.
Oh, for me, it's rough draft. I love a rough
Drafting.
Because you're just like, yeah, that's what happens, and we'll do this, and and you don't care at that point about all the nitty gritty and like, oh no, as it turns out, that wasn't invented for another 15 years, so that doesn't work.
Yeah,
you're just kind of going, and you're letting characters be crazy and wild, and that's actually where I'm at in book 3 right now. Is my characters are veering away from my plotted outline because in the middle of writing the scene, and they're talking to each other, and I realize that character wouldn't even do that because that's crazy town and she's not crazy town. So, I mean, which is really fun. I love that. I love when you get those points where you're having snappy dialogue and they're, I don't know, one's trying to convince the other one and the other one's like, no. And it's just fun. I love it. I love that part.
Yeah. Good show. I agree.
Yeah.
This is my metaphor. This is my... I love it too, because I don't know what's coming.
I like outlining, and I love the rough draft, but I like outlining and just yes, I do. I'm not a pantser. I'm a planter. But it's just jotting down the plot points and different things, because that's basically the inception of an idea. And sometimes it'll lead to something else. And sometimes what I find it interesting is that when I do outlines, I do it by chapters most times. Other times I do another process. And sometimes I have one line. And it's fascinating to me how one line can lead to a chapter. And other times I have it. The outline is basically the damn chapter almost written down. It's like, I gotta grab the ideas, capture. And just seeing the variety of that. I think it's a lot of fun because it allows me to, this leads to a little more of this, a little less of that, blah, blah, blah. And then when I write and I execute, there's another process to that, because as I'm writing, I get another idea and I check my notes and I go like, that fits there. So that entire process to me is fascinating because I get to know myself and what I want from the story as well.
Yeah.
Highly adaptable.
Yeah, actually, that I gotta say that's one of the things that I'm so sorry. I'll shut up. Sorry.
It's a question round. We're all just gonna jump in.
I was like, oh, I got something to say about that, and then I realized I was jumping right into your spot, and I'm so sorry. I'm an interrupter because I just get excited.
We are excitable people. Come on, jump in.
For days. Sorry.
Oh, say what you're gonna say. Say what you're gonna say.
Well, I was going to say that was one of the things that when I was drafting book 2, The Boxer and the Blacksmith, that was when I realized that the book was actually my way of dealing with motherhood, and the whole book, The Boxer and the Blacksmith, even though it's not about that, but it was a way of me processing like nurturing and what does that mean to care for something else, whether it's a plant or a person. And it's even in my dedication. Thank you. Word. I'm a writer. So that's when I really realized that was what I was trying to work through. And same thing with The Lady's Revenge. It's really all about anger, and basically female anger in terms of being told that you're not supposed to be physically violent and having a desire to be physically violent because you're just so pissed off. So yeah, it's, I agree that moment when you make these connections in your own work as you're drafting and you're like, dude, how am I so stupid that I couldn't figure that out? It took me, 400 pages to get there, but yeah. So sorry, that was my thing.
Pay any favorite part of these processes?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would be the research for a lot of reasons. Actually, mentioned where I think JD was saying how he'll write a sentence in a outline, and that sentence will tell part of the story. But where I get the same thing, but it's not in an outline. It's in something I'll research. I'll read a sentence and say, well, okay, that will fit perfectly right there, and then I just go from there. So I kind of use that as in the same way. But so yeah, it probably be the research would be my favorite part of the whole process.
Sounds good.
So.
And you, Miss Pinard?
Oh, I said research to begin with.
Okay.
Well, I sort of gave an answer that sort of skipped over all of them and then went back to research. Yeah, because I'm a convener. I can do that. Privilege in action. So we have, I had last section is about fans. Do you have artifacts for fans?
Yes.
I have go. So yeah. Whoa.
This is my yearbook. When I go to a convention, one of the challenges in a convention is, can you dedicate or sign the book? And I'm like, sure. What's your name? Christina. And it's like I've learned to ask Christina with a C, CH, K, KH, Q. And what I learned is that I started giving people a card so that they would write their name and whatnot. And then basically I ask people to write their name, spell it out so that I can understand it, so that I don't botch the dedication. If you want to leave them an email so that we can keep in touch, by all means, leave an email. Here's my card, so you can also write me in case you want. If you want to write a dedication because it's supposed to be like a yearbook, go for it. And
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I will actually read the first one that I open. I'm going to read that one. That's in English because since it's Puerto Rico, I get English and Spanish. We meet again. I'm so glad you're back this year. Thanks for always making my days brighter, even in the distance. You're a really inspiring artist, and your craft is amazing. I hope you achieve every one of your goals, and I wish the best to you and your family. Love you, Sydney. Cindy. And I'm so happy that she actually signed it because although I'm very fond of Sydney, I've known her for 6 years, and that's another thing. I've seen a lot of kids grow up from being scrappy teenagers to being college students, and it's very sweet. It does make the years.
You're not that old.
I know I'm not that old, but when you see someone who was 13 who is suddenly in second year in college, you go like, damn. And it just hits you hard, but it's very sweet. And sometimes, hey, self-doubt hits, writer imposter syndrome hits, or you're having a rough day. People ask, I don't think a review is important. First off, a review is important, and stuff like this is really important. I do have 3 or 4 of these. I do browse them once in a while. People have a lot of really nice things to say in English and Spanish. And yeah, that's mine.
Yay.
I have, it's not a physical artifact, but I ended up connecting with someone on Instagram, and she said that A Lady's Revenge was actually her favorite novel of last year. And we ended up having this massive conversation over the course of several days. And it was just wonderful and lovely to connect with someone else. And, it wasn't, I don't know, it was just lovely. Like, I would totally, if I could or would ever be in that area, I would totally look her up and be like, hey man, let's just go get a beer or a coffee or whatever. Socially distanced something. Hello.
Right.
Oh, and my book signing at Barnes & Noble, I did get someone who has asked me to do a presentation for the Rotary Club, which I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
Leads. Hot leads. Yay. That's fun.
Like, I'm sitting there, like, signing a book, like, by myself, like, because, it's Barnes & Noble, and you
Right. You're the end cap. You're the display of the day.
but still, you got there. I tried to get an event at Barnes & Noble, and seriously, I almost had to call 911 because the eye roll, I thought she was having a seizure. It was rough. I was like, man, can an indie catch a break?
Wow.
I think it probably depends on where you're trying to do it at. So.
I'm sure it was that, and she, and there's also the chemistry thing. I've done events at other places where people are super lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even try to get into Barnes & Noble. I wouldn't even get through the doors.
Well, I mean, I email. Like, that's my trick is like,
I tried the email, I tried the phone, and I tried going to the store. Nothing.
Oh, man.
Denied.
Maybe I'm just a really good email writer. Maybe that's really my superpower.
It's like that. You get into awards and stuff like that. You have all your ducks in a row, and I'm like, man, I want to be on Hot Wings because I'm always winging it, and she has her feces together. When I grow up, I want to be like you.
Like, where in the grocery store? I'm just like playing it around. Like, I'm just gonna like.
There you go. You got to watch it around.
Be like, oh yes. Yeah.
You're liable for damages if you hit someone with one of those, though. So careful.
Actually, the golden leaf, the trophy, is very pointy. It's very dangerous. Be careful. It's really up high, so my toddler can't like break his face on it because
Yeah. Okay.
But you have to enter. You have to enter the contests. That's the trick.
I did a few. I did that. Like, I think I've explained on my channel how I do sort of like layers of, I'm going to do this new thing, this book, and I'm going to do this new thing, this book, and see how it works. And the last book is the one that I tried to do awards a couple months after it launched. And, just lots of money going out my door.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I did not win or place in many awards.
It's hard to take. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all about circumstance also, because I've applied to a bunch that I haven't gotten, and then it's like, man, I can't catch a break, and then someone goes like, do you want to be in an anthology? And I'm like, if I make an attempt, I'm not gonna get it. And then suddenly someone goes like, hey man, I think you would keep. Sure, here's a story.
Yeah.
I've never written in horror, but here you go. And that's how it happened. And that was fun. And now I'm writing horror as well, because why the hell not?
Yeah. No, I did the same thing. I have a contemporary romance short story coming out in August, because it was, just came across and I was like, oh, contemporary. Okay. No research. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So my in-person event, has anyone seen one of these before?
Oh, when I was a kid. Yeah.
So I remembered having these. Oop, and it's on the computer now. Sorry, computer. I remembered this from being a little kid. It's basically a little plastic molded toy that has a bird and a whistle. And I remembered this, and I put it in one of my books. I have a YA supernatural girl in Nova Scotia starts seeing things and has to like solve a murder kind of thing, and time travel. There's a lot going on. And I put this in there, and I didn't know what to call these. What is this really? But I searched and searched and searched online to find like where I could buy them, and finally found them and brought them to the book fairs that I did with that book and gave them out to kids that came by and stuff. And so there's a fond memory for this, although I still don't really know how to operate it. I try.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a whistle bird call.
Yeah.
The yard are actually doing a better job.
What are they called?
They're not, well, I don't remember what I searched. This is my 2014 book, JD. This is an artifact. I don't remember the search terms anymore, but I just remember it was like something that I did like day after day. Oh, maybe what about this? What about like plastic bird warble? What about plastic china crap? Like
That is something that only geriatric millennials can be familiar with.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, I'll send you one. I have one up in Portland, and I brought one down here. So that was just like a funny, like, that's the one that inspired the idea for the talk, is that I have these. I have like 2 left on my shelf, and I was like, why keep this? And it's because it's an artifact that like is part of my author journey that I'm like sentimental about. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had a question about the pandemic, but
Did Kay answer?
Did go on that one?
Hey.
Sorry. did you have a fans artifact?
Oh, I actually I did. I used to have just like bookmark. Well, I had bookmarks that the illustrator for my book did up. He did some sketches for those, but I don't. It was, like I said, that this was about 5-6 years ago, so I don't have any now. But that was all I did. Well, this being the first major publication I had. I wasn't really sure what else there could be, and now so listening to your guys' ideas, I'm like, yeah, that would have been great. But yeah, so that was really all I had for that.
You didn't keep one back for yourself to remember?
I might have one in a box somewhere.
This is the difference.
Faded and crumbled. I could iron out, but no, I don't have any anymore.
Oh, look, someone is saying it's called a water whistle.
Okay.
Maybe. Thank you, Robin Hood.
Yeah, I was actually thinking maybe it was like a water warbler. I don't know. Isn't that what you said? I don't know.
Something close.
Water whistle.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds like a cocktail. I'll have a water whistle.
It does, actually.
I would totally drink that. I would.
That sounds sus to me.
Yeah.
It'll wet your whistle.
Yeah. No, I'm in.
Excellent.
I was going to say I did make up sort of business cards long before this. I wanted to see if I could like do like adventure writing, and I was doing Big 5 Dive. This was back in 2016, and it was we scuba dived all 5 Great Lakes, and so I blogged about the whole journey. We filmed it. It's up on Vimeo, so you can watch it there. It's from Mad Law Media. It's fantastic. It's very fun. It did go to a bunch of film festivals and it did win some awards. I was not in charge of that, so I didn't, that was not me. But it was fantastic. And I did try to get, I would blog about where we were going and every single thing, and it went nowhere for me personally as a writer. But I did try really hard to hand out these business cards with a hashtag and do the whole thing, and it went nowhere. So
we're all very familiar with the "it went nowhere" end of the story.
Yeah, that's my business card.
There you go.
Very nice.
That's my business card.
With the duck.
I don't. Yeah, with the duck. I don't give them out, but I have them.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I don't really know who to give them to.
Yeah.
So.
You can do if you send your books, you can use them as a bookmark, or you can include them as part of the giveaway or something. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking, but
yeah.
The curious thing is the amount of people that would go, "Can I have a business card?" And I'm like, sure.
I've had 3 people, so if I could order 10 or less, I would do it.
Nah. People at least. No, and all the cons that I've had, people have taken. I don't know. It's a very simple and clean layout, and which is very different from the variety of stuff that I have. This is me, plain vanilla me.
Just completely unlike all of my work.
The things that, I write poetry, I write middle grade, I write urban fantasy, I write nonfiction, I do the banana thing, I do a bunch of stuff, and you think that would be like some vomit on a business card or something. No, I kept it clean. I can keep it. I can clean up. I know that my hair doesn't seem that way, but I can clean up.
That's okay. I do the same thing where I'm like, oh, I write Regency romance. Yes.
That's your Regency romance post. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. No, see, that's how you know.
It has to be the 2 hands. If it's one hand, what is this?
That's like, oh, maybe I don't know, hand lotion. I'm not sure. Very nice hand lotion right now. No, but yeah, then I'm like, oh, it's about women punching people.
So it would be like this.
So it's like,
Oh,
yeah.
excellent. Well, thank you, authors. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. We're about 4 minutes over, and so I'm not going to go into the pandemic question that I had. So,
okay.
We had great stuff for artifacts. We had magnetic. You didn't show your doll, JD.
I have a doll. Yes, my boy he's playing video games.
Okay.
But that's the last thing I'm going to show. This car has been weathered because I want this to document how rough and tumble the last 17 years have been and whatnot. I have a fascination with the Joker and the Joker card, as the Joker mythology, the etymology of where the Joker card comes from, and the character of the Joker. There will be stuff like that, and actually there is a short story where I include something with a Joker card. It's just something that I've kept on me since 2004, and it's gonna keep on keeping on.
Very cool. Very cool. Any last thoughts, anybody, for your author life artifacts? And
Oh man. Yeah, if I was at home, I would just spin my computer so you could see my bookcase and the mess that surrounds it.
paper abounds.
Yeah.
Got it contained in one Rubbermaid container full of stuff. I took it off my shelves. Anything that wasn't serving the current book, I put it in the Rubbermaid container and said, "This is your limit. This is what you have."
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
That's cool.
All right, I think that might be it. That's it for me.
You want to risk another tangent with us?
Yeah. How long do I have to talk?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me, fellow folks. And thanks for any people watching. Feel free to visit the authors' channels and pages. We're all on YouTube. Edie is on with Paper Lantern Writers, but also on Instagram. And actually, I'm a Twitter person, but all these people are on Instagram as well. So you can text them there and tell them how much you appreciate them and their work because, yay, that's a good artifact. Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye.